Welcome to the Creative Island Podcast,
a show aimed at helping creative individuals transform their passion into profession.
Each episode will share powerful strategies, tips, and practical tools to empower you to create the income, the lifestyle, and the legacy you were designed for.
We are your hosts, Adam Bowman
and Jason Pepper.
Enjoy the show. Creative Island, we're back in the building. It's kind of a dreary day, so we're hiding outside, but we just want to take a second and just voice our appreciation for the fans, because obviously a podcast is nothing without its fans, or not fans, but listeners, I should say. You know, we're not crazy influencers or anything yet.
But if you are raving fans, let us know.
Yeah, if you got any
please tell your friends.
If you want to get a tattoo of our faces on your leg, I'm all for it. Just go crazy. But yeah, we just want to voice musicians aren't anything without people listening to their music. Filmmakers aren't anything without people watching their films. And podcasters, if no one listens, it's not a podcast. And, we looked up. We don't have the craziest analytics right now because, we're only, at this point, we're only 12 weeks in. So, it's a slow start. But again, like I said, without you guys, it'd be nothing. This past Easter, I was hanging out with a couple people I hadn't seen in a couple of years. And a couple people came up to me yo, the podcasting idea is really cool. And I remember we talked a little while ago and about imposter syndrome and shit. Is this cool? Am I acting? Am I playing a character? But I just that reinstated people actually do, benefit from this content regardless of what they're actually grabbing from of it. If it's just pure entertainment or they're actually interested in the concepts that we're giving people. But yeah, we're super grateful for everyone that watches, anyone that comments or interacts with our posts. We do have is it weekly or monthly newsletter? Monthly newsletter. If you're interested in any more, content or just things that'll level up your business, subscribe to that because there's a lot of good information that's coming straight from Jay. And it'll really help you stand out from the rest. And that's just sort of the bare bones that we can do to just show our appreciation for you. And it's going to get a lot better when we start doing it. I know we've been talking about these live events. We're both really busy, but once the summer months come, and the days are longer, we're going to start doing live events, and it's just going to pay back all that time you've listened for us. It's going to be really fun, really good networking events, some good food, finger food, some good alcohol from a sponsor that we don't want to name yet because we don't have them secured yet. We're working on it. But yeah, it's the least we can do for your appreciation and listening to us and everything. But yeah, we just got to give credit where credit's due. Shout out to the listeners.
Yeah, shout out to listeners, guys. Got to remember, we're just guys. We're slugging it out. We're walking the same road you guys are. Yeah. We're encountering the same problems and trying to come to solutions. And we're just having conversations about how we can do that.
Yeah. Just a couple of more or white dudes with a podcast. You know what I'm saying? we're just slugging it out, like you said. It's funny because my dad will sometimes come down and be like, yo, listen to that podcast. That was sick. He's like, Jason really knows what he's talking about. I'm like, well, what about me? He's like, yeah, you're all right. But I'm like, fuck, man. Come on, dude, give me something.
But that's all Adam said. Adam and I set out to do this in the beginning. It was really just to give some value and just to help artists to some capacity be better business people, understand their business a bit more, and to just bridge the gap between passion and profession.
Yeah.
There's a big gap between people who are doing things because they're passionate about it and people that are doing things as a profession because they've bridged the gap. We just want to give people tools and resources. We're doing the same thing. Yeah. We're walking our talk every day, and we just wanted to have these conversations and hope that you guys get some little golden nuggets that you can take to your business and just start crushing it and getting some crazy results.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a labor of love. I've lost money on this. I've lost time, but at the same time, I love to do it. You love to do it. I love hearing the sound of my own voice, just like a lot of people. Editing it sucks, but I'm over it. I've been editing myself for 12, 15 years now, just through starting YouTube and whatnot. But like I said, yeah, it's a labor of love. We're not really in it for money or anything. We just want information. We have this cool diegetic juxtaposition between the two because Jason is he's got 10 years ahead of me. So it's just this cool little juxtaposition of just someone who's 10 years down the road, someone who's just starting. So you can pull from both. You can relate to both of us. And if you can't, give us topics that you want to hear. We've talked a lot about, we've had 12 podcasts so far, and this will be, I think, number 16. Who cares about the numbers? But we're going to do a lot of podcasts, and it's hard to come up with ideas. I mean, Jason comes up with most ideas. I can't take the credit for all of them.
Well, I try to just keep it really simple.
Yeah.
You know what? It's about just finding things that people are struggling with and just stopping the struggle, like giving them tools and resources. So if you guys have anything, or there's something that's really bugging you that we haven't covered that you really want to hear about, or you just got this problem in your business and you're like, man, can you guys pick this apart and just help me come to a solution? Send me an email. The email's info@creativeisland.online. Send us an email and we'll get to your topic. I'll send you a reply and, just to make sure I got kind of the gist of it. And we'll go to town and we'll pick it apart and we'll try to get you a solution.
And you know what? Fuck it. Let's put a little incentive behind that. If you reach out to us, you have a small business, whatever, you ask us a good question, you want to do a good topic, we'll shout out your business, we'll tell your services, we'll plug you, and we'll talk about what you suggested to us, just do a little incentivize, just about, because, small businesses really help each other out, and that's what we're all about. So, if you have any topics, ideas, questions, concerns, hit us up. We'll plug your business, plug your, if you're a traveling band, we'll plug your band. If you're a comedian, we'll plug your act. If you're just, if you don't have anything to do with arts, we'll still plug it. Like, if you're a plumber, like we talk about plumbers, the one podcast, we'll shout out your plumbing business. People's homes need plumbers, contractors, whatever. If you're listening for whatever reason, we'll plug you.
Anyway, so we just want to say segue. This episode is called Attitude for Gratitude. We just want to say we're grateful for all the listeners. We've come this far. We got a long way to go. And we're just grateful all the way along. So thanks for tuning in, and let's get into it.
Yeah, and it's like you said, just to get right into it, it's like you said before when we were talking about spirituality. Like, you don't have to be a Kama Sutra. You don't have to be, crazy into religion to know about energies and how energies work. And that, if you're positive and grateful for a lot of people and don't carry around that baggage, and you can bounce that energy off of people, it works in your favor tenfold down the line. People, in the film industry, in most art industries, people aren't going to want to work with you if you're just, complaining all the time. You're not fun to be around. It's really about, can I spend, a couple weeks on a project with this person? Can I spend 8 hours a day with this person? So it's just about good energy, good times, smiles, happiness. Can you be in the trenches with someone for a long time and still come out on top, even through the failures and the hoops you got to jump through,
Absolutely. I always say, a mentor years ago said, Jay, if you give gratitude, the world will give you more to be grateful for. And the same thing with lack. If you feel like you're lacking something in your life, the world's going to go, give them more lack. What you focus on expands. And when you're grateful for stuff, and you're grateful for people, and you're grateful for experiences, and you're grateful for education. We never have failures. We only have, we have successes, then we have education. And we all got to pay for education one way or another.
I love looking at it like that.
And you got to be grateful for it, because if you're not, the world's going to give you more things not to be grateful for. And that's just not a good way to live. It's not a good way to do business, and it's not going to get you far in the long run.
Yeah, no.
So be grateful, say thank you. Anything you can't say thank you for becomes baggage. Anything you can becomes fuel. Use the fuel. And take it to the next level.
Yeah, it curbs your expectations a little bit. It surpasses, it transcends business and whatever. Like, open doors for people, say how you doing, talk to people on the street, talk to people on the subway ride, talk to people. It's just talk to your Uber drivers. You don't have to be a shut-in, just bounce that energy. If you're going somewhere, you got a gig, and you're here, just focus on the gig, talk to someone, alleviate some of that anxiety, just have a conversation. It'll make you forget about stuff, and that energy will bounce back, and it'll show up at the gig, and you'll be ready to conquer the world. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of people just get weighed down. I think a lot of people get weighed down with emotional baggage and polarizing perceptions about life, that certain events and certain things.
Totally.
How can I be grateful for that one event that was so terrible? And it's you can't, no matter how many times you cut a magnet in half, you still get a positive, you still get a negative. You can never have just one side. And that works for any area of life. You always get both sides. And if you're choosing to see something as only good and only bad and no good, or only good and no bad, you start to polarize, and it's going to cause some really imbalanced perceptions about the world. And that's not going to do you any good. You got to say thank you for stuff.
It's going to make your compass spin around, and you have no idea where north, south, west, or east is, let alone where to go next, sort of thing, right? It's just you gotta, like you said, you gotta balance it, find out where you're swaying, and sway back, and try to just keep that compass pointed where you want to go.
Totally. And thank people along the way. Like I'm a big believer in like saying thank you. And we have referral partners and people that I've done business with for a long time in different ways, in different capacities. And like, I'm the first person to reach out and just say, hey, thanks. Like, how you doing? How are things?
Yeah.
Thanks for being there. You know, and I always get more business when I do things like that.
Yeah, and I feel that. Like, for my email chain, I'm not a sincerely guy or best regards. Like, I like saying thank you at the end of my emails. I know some people are different. Like, they have a different, context to what their business is, and like sometimes they need to be sincerely or whatever. But I always like showing appreciation, even if I don't get the job. You know what I mean? Even if I don't land that lead. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for giving me this failure or this education. Because next time, I'm going to make sure that I sign you to a contract and get your money and provide you with the service.
Absolutely. Like, I don't know how many times I've lost a contract, but sent a gratitude card or gave them a call and just wanted to give them some gratitude. Just say thanks for the opportunity. Again, I got some really good nuggets. I realized my shortfalls, got some education. We're going to do things a little bit differently in the future so that, next time we don't get those things. And they call me 6 months later, or they refer me to someone that I get business from because they were like, hey, we didn't work with these guys, but
they're class.
Now that I think about it, like if I had known that they were like that, I probably would have. So you should call them. And then we get business that way. And there's this like, you want to create raving fans in your business. Just tell them thank you.
Yeah.
Tell them you appreciate them. They'll be raving fans. Like it works. And it, like I've proven it. I don't know how many times with so many different people and so many different industries and like past clients and past client friends and people that want to give you testimonials that did one job from you 6 years ago. You reach out and say thank you for that, and they go, "I'd love to. Do you want a testimonial? Do you want? And it's like, oh man, that's how you create raving fans in your business.
Yeah, and even if like you're not an artist, but you love art, you love supporting the homies, like it doesn't take that much to show your gratitude for them. Like they post a clip on Instagram, like, oh, new song out, new podcast out, new book out, whatever. Share that shit, bro. Like it's small businesses. Small businesses rely
support small business
on the word of mouth of just like connecting different people to your sources. Where it's just like if you're not shouting out your homies who have small businesses, you're doing a disservice to them. You know what I mean? And like if you're having a conversation and someone has something to overcome, and someone's business gets them overcomes those challenges, shout them out in that conversation, shout them out on social media, plug them in conversations. Like it doesn't take that long. It's like 5 seconds out of your day. It doesn't take a lot. And I'm always super grateful when I like post a project and people like comment on it, they like it, they share it, they show other people, they come up to me and say, man, that project slapped. They have a little constructive criticism, and it shit compounds, because the next time I'm going to you to ask for your feedback, and it's all cyclical.
Totally. And constructive criticism is really useful and it's helpful. But, at the same time, somebody said this to me one time, and I can never unhear it. The only people that ever criticize you are people doing less than you.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
So just use that fuel and run with it. You get criticism from people. Yeah. Just give them gratitude back. Say thanks for that.
Yeah. I love having a chip on my shoulder with people, just like when you have a project and you hit, sort of like the end point of it, and like you feel good about it, but like you're trying to prove someone wrong with that too. It makes it feel way better.
It's fuel, man. Because fuel. Then use the fuel,
and then you take the high road and you shake hands. You say thank you so much. I just annihilated you, but you say it a lot better. It makes you feel so good. It pumps you up, and that person's like, wow, they got class. You know what I mean? And there's no bad blood. Like bad blood in any artistic industry. Like sometimes you get cool like rap battles and stuff, people drop an album, but like at the same time, like it always ends ugly. It's toxic. Like be nice, help each other out, write music with people, share a little, give a little, and get a little,
And the givers gain. Like that's just the reality of it. The people that give the most get the most back. And there's this amazing thing. Like I'll give you a story. I've been trying really hard to get someone I've been working with in an article under a certain publisher, and they're a really hard publisher to get involved in. And I was like, how can I do this? Like, how can I find an in and get through this gatekeeper? And I thought, perfect. I'm gonna just kill them with kindness. I'm gonna get through by killing them with kindness. So I don't know if you know this, but journalists spend their whole life talking about every other person. Nobody wants to talk about them. So I called this journalist and I was like, listen, I just like, I want to just talk to you. I want to learn about you. You're become this journalist in this amazing organization. And I want to learn about how you got there. It's so impressive, you know, like tell me all about you. I'm amazed at how far you've come. And so then they talk, you know, forever because nobody ever asked them how they're doing. But then at the end, and by the time they finish up and you go, wow, it's great. Thank you so much. And you don't ask for anything in return, reciprocity kicks in. Ooh, and all of a sudden, they're a journalist for a really heavy-hitting organization that has a lot of eyeballs on their content, or they're columnists or something like that. All of a sudden, they're like, well, what can I do for you?
Yeah, the energy bounces right back.
Who are you? Yeah. And all of a sudden, you're in the driver's seat. So it always pays dividends to give, and givers gain always in the long run. So where can you find opportunities to just like give gratitude, give thanks, give back to people, support people, and just... you know?
Yeah, and people, when you give, people feel obligated to give back 100% of the time.
Reciprocity, man, it's a real thing.
Exactly. I think I said this anecdote before, so I'll just like touch on it like briefly because I can't remember if I said it on a previous podcast, but it was like we were funding, we wanted to really do guerrilla. I love guerrilla marketing. Like before this anecdote, I'll go on like David Lynch, you know, the director David Lynch, right? Like Blue Velvet, Eraserhead, Twin Peaks, you know, one of the GOATs, and he's just hilarious. He's a character and a half. But he had this film, I forget what it was, but he had Laura Dern in it. Laura Dern's in like all of his movies. She's in Twin Peaks. She's an amazing actress. They had like no marketing budget, and he's like, fuck it. I'm just going to rent a Jersey cow and go on like Hollywood Boulevard in LA and then just have a sign that says like the movie title, Laura Dern's face, this Jersey cow with a bell, and just sit out in a director's chair. And he was just talking to people, handshaking them. And then it was like one of the best like campaigns that he'd ever done for marketing, because you're just in the street and people are posting pictures like, what the hell's going on here? Why does David Lynch have a cow in the street?
So good.
So like we saw that and I was like, how can I do this? Obviously I'm not David Lynch. We're not even close to that yet. We're on track though. So like, stay tuned.
But how can you still use the same philosophy? Like it has nothing to do with the resources you have.
No.
It has everything to do with how resourceful you can be with what you have.
Exactly. So like the documentary, Amanda's Murals, it was about my neighbor who's a muralist, and he has one right down. It's Roncy and Queen, basically. It's like a block north of that. There's this big building with a mural. It used to be, what was it? It's like the C&E used to have basically like a big, not carnival, but you know, Ferris wheel, a boardwalk. It was way cooler back in like the 40s to the 60s. And it was just like a highlight. Like each frame basically was like from the beginning to like the end of it. So like it was like smaller sort of skyline up to bigger, and it was a really cool mural. But I was like, oh, the foot traffic at Roncy and Queen is huge. They're all art folk. They're hipsters. I was like, let's just like put out a table and talk to people. And my buddy Julian, shout out Julian, one of my big collaborators and homies. He was like, well, like it's the wintertime. How about we just get hot paws? You know, the hot paws that warm me up. I was like, how about we buy them bulk? We take a hit on the budget. It was like $300, and we just hand them out to people and staple basically like a business card that has a QR code on it that brings you right to the Indiegogo. And like, wasn't that successful in that scope of it, just because like it's a small project. But at the same time, we made so many connections. People wanted to work on the film. People wanted to hear about it. So it drove a lot of foot traffic that otherwise wouldn't have to the project. And it worked really, really, really well in that regard. Great. So like, it's just giving back. And then like the whole thing about that is like, they feel obligated. You give them this hot paw. I got a couple of change in my pocket. Well, I'm going to scan this QR code. I want to learn about what you guys are doing. You guys are killing it out in the streets, and they just feel obligated to give back to you. I mean, we had like 100 left over, so we ended up using them for actual shooting and stuff, which was nice too. But it just goes back to that gratitude. We gave gratitude to people, and they gave it right back in form of compensation, or just like gratitude in the sense of thank you. I'm going to watch this film X, Y, and Z sort of thing.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's just like you said, the small things, and you kill them with kindness. Like we're kind to everyone. Like in like a couple of, you know, Toronto's finest crackheads pulled up, and we're like, you know what, here, take a couple. Like you're cold, like have a few. And it was like we weren't expecting anything back from them, but some people saw that and were like, oh, you know, these kids are nice. We're gonna help them out, sort of thing. You know, simple things. Yeah,
there's so many cause and effect relationships to things you can't really comprehend or even understand how far it'll take you. And just give gratitude, man. Be grateful. Be grateful, give gratitude, and the world will give you more to be grateful for.
Oh, I love that. You have any other anecdotes surrounding like how, like the reciprocity game? Because I think it's huge, and I really want to hit that home with people. Just like it's all reciprocal in the end. It's all cyclical. It's like the energies
Yeah, you just want to frame things in a way that benefits other people. Always. Like, you know, you want to give. So, you know, if you really want to get featured in a magazine, or you want to get featured in a certain playlist, or with a certain blog or something like that, go and try to talk to them. And what can you offer? What, with the resources you currently have, what value could you add to them? As soon as you can do that, they'll have reciprocity, and they'll go, you know what? That was great. And I want to give something back to you. Yeah. Perfect. What do you want? I want to be featured. I want to get on that playlist. I want to get in that blog. I want to get on that tour. I want to get featured in that magazine, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have to be creative with what you have and how you can do that. Like if you got to drag a cow in West Hollywood or Beverly Hills, yeah, like, or whatever, if that's what you have to do, or sell hot paws, or go and just listen to somebody talk for an hour about their career and how they got to where they were.
Yeah.
Sometimes just listening to somebody's story is enough for someone just to go, man, thanks for listening. Like, I'd like to do something for you now.
Yeah. And COVID left us with this gap where, like, people are just starved of face-to-face connections.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So, like, and people are alone. Like, people lived alone. Like, I didn't realize, because I was extremely grateful for just being able to chill with my family. Obviously, you get a little bit of cabin fever or whatever. But, like, I realized people were alone for, like, 2 years. People are dying to have a conversation about some esoteric topic. It doesn't matter. But, like, you give that to someone, and it's just a connection you have, not for life, maybe for life, but, like, it just transcends, like, anything you're doing, and it gives back that reciprocal energy, right? Like,
that's it.
It's fire.
That's it.
Yeah, and then, like, another thing, too, like, it doesn't just have to be random people. It doesn't just have to be people you want to work for. But it's, like, if you sort of, like, give that gratitude to people you want to work with. Like, on Wednesday, I'm doing a project with this dude. They have no budget with this music video, but I've been dying to collaborate with him because he's a really creative guy. Like in terms of how he directs is totally different. So I'm camera teching for him. So it's like a different sort of avenue. But like, I like grabbing people's sort of what they're good at and taking it from my own tool belt. And like, he's like, oh man, I only have like $50 for it. I was like, don't worry about it. Like, I'll go get it done. We'll have a fun day. I know you said 4 hours, but this certain thing, we're doing a car rig. Car rigs take a long time. I was like, if we have to go longer, I don't care. Because I know the next time I need something from him, he's going to give it back. Because it's like that reciprocity, that gratitude is given. I was going to say, kind of trailing off what I just said about like expressing gratitude so it works in your favor in the long run in terms of collaborating with people. Like, I noticed, shout out Andrea Morris, we're doing gratitude, I'll shout her out. She's hired me when I was nothing, and I, in turn, added a lot of value to her, but so now, like, she always raves about me and gets me a ton of referrals through, like, nothing, doesn't expect anything from it, and it's that crazy gratitude she has. And it's just like every time she does that for me, I just want to work 10 times harder for her. Like, Absolutely. If you have this gratitude with people and you're giving people opportunities, they're in turn going to want to work their asses off for you. And she's like one of like 3 clients where I really go above and beyond every time because I know it's going to pay off because someone else in her network is going to see it. It's going to come right back. But it's just like simple gratitude of being like, this kid, Adam, he's really good. He's amazing. I mean, she puts a big larger weight on my shoulders because if I fuck up the project and it's like, you just referred me a dumbass or whatever. Right. But like, it's still good. I do a lot better under pressure. It's from like the sports, like the athletics days. But still, like, my point really is, if you want someone to work their ass off for you, you want someone to go above and beyond, show them what you're doing, and then just gratitude up their ass, kill them with kindness, and they'll tenfold work harder, want to go work more hours, want to be more creative, want to do anything that sets the project or whatever above what anyone else is doing.
Absolutely. And just say thank you. Like, sometimes it's just as simple as saying thank you. We have a referral program in place in one of my businesses, and it's awesome. And I make sure to thank everybody. Every time we get a referral, I say thank you. They get a little card from us, or they get a phone call, and we have like a monetary kind of compensation, some gift cards and stuff that I love to give out. Mm-hmm. And that's how. And then at Christmas time, we do the same thing. We finish our year. We usually count the number of projects that we get on, and we hit our number of projects. Everybody I can think of, all the way down, up and down. I just try to send something, right? Mm-hmm. Like, gift cards go a long way. And you know what, guys? Gift cards are tax deductible.
Oh, that's right. Because it's like charitable donation, basically.
Well, it's a gift. It's like I have a referral program, and like I'm giving $50 gift cards or $100 gift cards to like whatever. Keep the receipt. It's tax deductible. So it's like a tax deductible way of saying thank you. that usually results in them referring you. Like I got a card recently from someone who I had a long conversation with. We never did any business, but we had a really good, productive conversation. I got a card from her like 3 weeks in the mail, 3 weeks after, or something like that. Baby. And I opened the card. I know it was great, but it was so great. And I opened it and I was like, oh my God, she just wanted to say thank you. We had such a great conversation. And it was just like, thanks, grateful for our conversation, our friend, whatever. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Now I'm like, she's top of mind. And I'm thinking of ways and thinking of people that I know in my network that I can connect her with that's going to make her a freaking fortune. And I'm like, who are those people? So it just puts that kind of...
Totally.
It just puts that bug in your ear and you just start looking.
Yeah, there's something there. Like, remember, like...
It's magic.
But it's like... Quantify. It's like manipulation, but it's like purest and like soulful form. Because like I have a story to that. Me and my buddy Julian, who I just shouted out earlier... we always give each other work. Like if I can't do the project, I send it to him, vice versa. And then when we work together, we make magic happen. We have the shorthand. It's great. Like we just know each other's strengths and weaknesses and we fill the gaps. And this one project, I think we did it it was during COVID. So it was probably I think it was third year. We were shooting this historical building, no elevator, walked up 6 flights of stairs. It was like 35 degrees in this place because it was the top floor. It just sucked. But it was this cool music video we were shooting. He was directing. We were kind of co-directing. He wrote it. And we're just both working on the camera, just like very, very like in tune with the artist, this artist Jari. And like it was the first video we'd done for him. And he was kind of like testing waters. Like when you first do, especially a music video, because that's a visualization of someone's art that they've been manifesting for years. So it's very hard to sort of come in and really do a bang up job if you don't have a rapport. So we were just like, this idea is kind of cool. It's story based. It's not all performance based. Like people like that shit more. And at the end of it, like it was like Julian killed the edit. It was locked, cut, and just shipped off. And he sent us both a $50 tip. I'd never been tipped before for a video service. And I was like, whoa, like it's $50. It's not changing my life or anything. But I'm like, that's sick. So then the next video we did, it was, I think at the end of the summer last year. And he like went through a financial hit through his business. He wasn't making as much money. He was also going on a trip. So like, it was just, so like Julian had to set up a payment plan, which kind of sucked for him because he had to pay a couple people out of pocket. But like, if he had tipped, there's no way Julian would have done that payment plan because like, it just showed that he's good for the money. He's good for the long run. We want this relationship to work. And it just made us work harder because that video was 10 times better than the one we did before. So, like, again, gratitude compounds. It's a little tip.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Goodwill compounds way faster than anything else. And it compounds tax-free. It's not taxable until you convert it into money again. Yeah. So goodwill compounds. Just little things like bring someone a coffee. I have an organization and they're a massive referral partner for me. Okay. They're part of my power team in one of my many power teams. And they're just so lovely. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of women in the office. And they're so sweet and so awesome. And so what I'll do every once in a while is I just stop in with flowers. And they and not like
that's fire.
And not little flowers. Yeah. Like a big bouquet that lives for like 2 weeks.
You know what you're doing.
And so like I just parked my company's billboard right on top of their filing cabinet where the whole office walks by and smells the flowers every single day. That little act of gratitude, I'd have to sit down with a pencil, paper, and a calculator to figure out how much return on investment that bouquet of flowers. It was like $100 bouquet of flowers. Yeah. I don't even know how many tens of times of return on investment I've got. And I do it all the time.
That's fire.
Because it's those little things. Mm-hmm. That's what business is. Business is relationships. Like people are going to do business with people. Like there's tons of people that offer the same service as you. There's tons of people that offer similar value. There's really great, sweet talking guys that'll convince you the world, promise you the world. Mm-hmm. They're all out there. You have to figure out how to position yourself in a way that they want to do it with you and you only.
Yeah.
And gratitude is an easy way to win that.
The only way, there's very, very, very little like minute situations where the opposite of gratitude works. It's like UFC, you got to have that conflict and shit. in sports there's that conflict. But anything else, if you're not gracious and showing love to people, it's just there's no point. Like life's too short to grovel about the small stuff and create enemies for no reason. You know what I mean? Like unless you're fighting like Mike Tyson or some shit, like it's not gonna work.
Well, what are you holding on to with like, if you're not going to say thank you for events or people in your life, what are you going to do? Just be upset about it?
Yeah.
Like, think about every time you have you have like an event or a trauma, or you have something that happens in your life that you think only gave you negative implications and no positive. Think about those events. Every time you have an event like that and you fail to see where that event helped you, benefited you, it's like you're pulling a big sleigh behind you with a bunch of junk.
Just bricks.
Emotional baggage. Yeah. And every time you resent someone or get pissed off at someone, you can't say thank you for something.
Yeah.
You throw another brick on the friggin' sleigh, and you got to pull that thing your whole life.
Yeah.
Why is that productive?
No, it's not.
Say thank you for stuff. And don't do it blindly, like, oh, thanks for that. Find the reason why that event or that person is worth just saying thank you.
Yeah.
Like, did you get education from that? Did you get a learning experience? Did you lose someone, that maybe was meant to go somewhere else anyway, and you just get to start over? Like, there's so many benefits. It's just sometimes we're so naive to how things benefit us, but it's so important. And the faster we recognize both sides simultaneously, the good and the bad, the quicker we can move on and just say, I can thank the world for that event. Great. Yeah. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. And I can move on.
And if you have that energy about it, like when the shit comes in droves and like, you went through a couple of months, like that just refines you. And then you're programmed to just be like, bring it. Just bring it. Cause I'm going to get over it. I'm going to conquer it. And I'm going to slay the world because like nothing's stopping me. You know what I mean? And if you think about it too, like in sort of the sense of like burning bridges, like what's the point of burning a bridge? It's not going to work for you. Because if you think about it in the literal sense, like if you don't have a bridge, there's a river that's raging, it's like a kilometer long. You're not crossing that thing without a bridge. And if you're burning all the bridges that you're making, you're not going to cross that river. And that destination that you're getting to is going to open up a plethora of other rivers and other bridges you need to build and get across and not burn them,
Absolutely. And there's no point in doing like it. You have to look at everything that's happening in your life as something that's on the way, not in the way. It's part of the journey. It's part of the journey, and it's the next thing that happens to you that's challenging. It's like, that's just where your story gets interesting. Think about it like that. You're not at your income potential.
Yeah.
You're not even close. And you're still building your career. You're still building your journey. You're still building the team around you that's going to get you to that vision of yourself that you're not even close yet. So there's no point in thinking that the end is in sight or that this is, it's not. You're not even
you can't
close.
Think like
just
that.
Say thank you. You know, that's all you can do.
Yeah, no, but get back to what you said. Nothing, what was it? Nothing is in the way, it's on the way.
Everything is on the way, not in the way.
I love that saying. I used it once. We were shooting a short film. I talked about it a little bit. And it was like we were putting people through the gauntlet. Like it was long days, very low pay, shitty food, not the best working conditions. And I was the assistant director. So that's like my job to make sure people are happy or at least like aren't going to walk off the set sort of thing. And we were like, people were like ready to just leave basically. And I sort of just explained like, I said exactly what you just said. Like, everything is on the way, not in the way. Like you got to think about this as just like the bigger picture. I know this sucks now, but this project's going to be amazing. You're going to have it on your portfolio and it's going to, people like their attitude started to change and they started to give you more. And then I was like, again, to the gratitude, the last day, I was like, man, we've been feeding these people crap. These people have been working long hours, underfed. Like it's the worst circumstance you want. So I called up my dad. I was like, brother, you gotta come through with us. Cause it was his script. So he was kind of in the trenches with us. I was like, yo, you gotta go to Le Gourmand and buy 30 sandwiches, like each of which. And like I told everyone at the beginning of the day, cause people did not want to be there. It was a Sunday. So people knew they had to go back to their 9 to 5 the next day. It was not looking good for us. We also had a lot of extras. It was a big day in like the film world. So I was just like, as 80, I was looking at like, holy fuck, this is a mountain to get over. And I was like, all right, I got a surprise for you guys at lunch. And everyone was kind of like, what are you talking about? We're going to eat those shitty wraps we've been eating for like the past 4 days. They're just like these cold quinoa wraps, some roast beef. They're disgusting. They're not good. And then like my dad shows up and everyone knows that he's my dad, and everyone's like, oh, this is sick. He's here. And he's like, why are you here? And then he like pulls over this like 4 platters of sandwiches. Everyone's like, what the fuck? Boom, we broke for lunch. Best decision I ever made on that whole entire film. I made some pretty cool decisions. It's just like everyone paid it forward. Everyone wanted to load the trucks. Everyone wanted to like stay overtime and help out. Everyone wanted to like, share the Instagrams at the end and network. And it just like that small little decision compounded. And it was amazing. And it brought everyone together. Everyone ate in the same lunchroom. We were like, which sandwich did you get? Oh yeah, that one's sick. Those caramelized onions are fire. Like, you know what I mean? It's just such a small thing. Worked magic. It was amazing. It was one of my finer moments on that short film.
So funny. I have so many stories like that. I have this one story, like little stories where I do, a little gesture or take somebody for lunch or bring them flowers or something. And it just pays huge dividends, like I met a guy for dinner the other night, just a friend of mine. We haven't really gone out in a long time. And he owns a big agency and they're international. So they got office in the United States and Canada. And I said, listen, I just want to pick your brain. I didn't say that exactly, but basically I'm like, let's go for lunch. Let's catch up. But what I was really after was I wanted to pick his brain about a bunch of stuff because he's got a big roster of talent. And I was kind of interested in how he was doing a couple of things that were working for him that I wanted to kind of get on. And, I think it was like, we went to a nice establishment. So the bill was like, it was a lot, but I was just so thankful because I left that night with solutions to things that I've been having some challenges with. And it's like the value in that was so disproportionate to the cost of dinner and the fun we had while I was there. That was like, man, I just like, thank you. Yeah. And he was like, dude, thanks so much for taking me out. And, oh, I'm so grateful. And, no, I'm grateful. Thank you, And so it just goes all around. It's like gratitude's this like infectious thing where when you smile, people smile back. Like when I'm in my office, I don't know if you know this, I have a mirror in my office.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, oh yeah. No, I do it.
You're so weird, dude.
But it's so, I can't even tell you how much it's helped me. Like I got this mirror and I get on a phone and when I'm dialing, I call it dialing for dollars when I'm talking to new people. And like I've been in sales for a long time, right? As a business owner, you're a sales guy. You have to be a sales guy. And so I'm in there and I've got my little mirror and I go smile at my mirror when I say hello on the phone. And they feel that shit. And I can't tell you how many times people just stay on the phone with me because I'm just like, yeah, great. And I'm smiling and I'm genuinely,
your tone changes,
feeling happy. I'm genuinely feeling grateful and I'm just smiling and I can see myself smiling. And there's this weird thing that resonates through the phone. And the person on the other end is just like, I just had the nicest call with this guy. And like, I don't know if I can help him, but I'm going to find someone who can help him because I just want to give that back.
That's fire, man. That's so sick.
I want to hear, like, if you guys listening have stories, I want to hear. Like, send it in. Send us some gratitude stories from things that have worked for you guys. Really crazy stuff, creative stuff, simple stuff. We just want to hear it. Yeah. We'll shout it out next episode. And,
and it's all about that gratitude. Like we're saying, like we want to give back. If that's shouting out your business, if that's telling a really cool story about how you implemented gratitude, or even like implemented something you learned on the podcast, like, oh man, like I built this power team and now I'm winning or whatever, or like a challenge you overcame with something we said. That's what we want to hear. That's the community we're trying to create. We're trying to stand on the shoulders of giants, everybody. And that's like, it doesn't come from individual work. It comes from a group expression and connectivity and collaboration and everything that gets intertwined with gratitude and the whole nine, it's
absolutely
simple.
And just
so simple.
And on the note with gratitude, we'll finish with this. I'm hosting a Zoom call.
Oh, sick. Okay.
On my own. I'm going to be in the office. I'm just going to jump on a Zoom call. And basically anybody who wants to jump on, it's going to be kind of an open discussion. I'm just going to kind of everybody's going to kind of be able to pick my brain. If you guys have questions, things that are working in your business, things that aren't, maybe some hurdles that are in your way, we're just going to have an open forum. We'll pick at it. It's just a 2-hour Zoom call. You can jump in, jump off. So if you guys want to jump in and just have a quick call, send us an email. Again, our email is info@creativeisland.online. In the subject line, just put Zoom call and I'll know to plug you in and send you the link on the day. It's coming up in a couple of weeks.
I'll be there, dude.
Yeah, and I encourage everybody, we're going to use the chat window.
Sick.
Nobody's going to be on mute. Like it's not going to be like a presentation.
Show those pretty faces.
I'm not going to sell anything to you. I'm not looking. I don't have a course I want you to buy. I just want to give I just want to give back some good information, maybe some nuggets that I have that might help you guys get over the hurdles.
And just that reciprocity game. Like you share, we share, everybody shares, everybody gets a little bit of care. It's all dialed in. Actually, I think that's a great idea that you just came up with, or like if you had that premeditated, but I'm going to record that too. And then we can put that out as content and just like, you know what I mean? And just sort of have it that way where your stories will get told. And like, if you want to start a podcast, we can talk about what the trials and tribulations of starting a podcast that nobody listens to for the first couple episodes. Like it's hard, it's relentless, but we love it. And I think it's paying dividends for how I conduct business. I'm learning a lot from you. Like you're learning a lot about the video world, which is good. You're going to start implementing some of my services soon. So it's just like this all big reciprocal game. And if you get more people on your side, that's more people that aren't against you, and you're fucking gonna win.
That's it. What is that old saying? Like your net worth is your net worth, or your network is your net worth, or whatever it is. I mean, it's
not about what you know; it's about who you know.
It's cliche, but there's relevance there. You know.
You know, we're not the most cliche podcast. We got some idiosyncrasies that we plug in there. You know. Anyways, bottom line, gratitude is gonna make you win. It's going to make you win 1,000 times. What was the saying at the beginning? What were we going to call this? Attitude or gratitude or whatever?
Having an attitude for gratitude is the reason you're success. It's going to be the biggest reason behind your success, and I can guarantee that.
Respects. Jay, another wonderful episode of the podcast. Shout out to San Pellegrino. Sponsor us if you're out here, San Pal. But yeah, again, hit us up. Interact with us. We want to create a community. Please, like, you know, drop a line. If you don't want to give out your information, do it anonymous. Like, we just want to cultivate a community that starts serving each other. We don't want to, like Jay said, we don't want to sell you anything. If you want to hire us, amazing, but that's not the name. That's not the end goal. We just want to create a community and stand on the shoulders of giants.
That's it, guys. We're all artists. Get out from the shadows and stand on the shoulders. That's what we're here for.
All right. Thanks, guys. See you next week. Cheers.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And if you'd like to be notified of more episodes, please be sure to follow the Creative Island podcast now.
Want access to exclusive content, our community newsletter, live events, and so much more? Visit creativeisland.online today to join the Creative Island community.
See you at the top.